Okay, ضمائر النصب. أهلا وسهلا. في هذا الدرس سندرس ضمائر النصب. We're going to study object pronouns. So we're now on page 81, واحد وثمانين, page 81. Object pronouns. We have done so far الضمائر. الضمائر were pronouns. So we did الضمائر المنفصلة. We just did our regular subject pronouns. أنا, هو, هي, هم, أنتم, those pronouns. And then last chapter we did الضمائر الملكية, which were our attached or possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns making something mine. We added ya, بيتي, الياء, بيتنا, نون ألف, بيتكم, أنتم, كاف ميم, right? So those were our possessive pronouns. ضمائر النصب are object pronouns, okay? And object pronouns are pronouns that we attach to a verb. Possessive pronouns are pronouns we attach to nouns. Object pronouns are pronouns we attach to verbs. Okay? So let's look at the pronouns we've done so far. So we've done our subject pronouns. So I have them all here on the left. You guys already know these. أنا, نحن, أنت, أنتم, أنتي, أنتن. أنتن, remember, is the feminine. We haven't practiced that much with it. هو, هم, هي, هن. These are just your regular subject pronouns. Then we have possessive pronouns. When you want to take a pronoun, you put it to the end of a noun to make it now possessed. It's now not possessed in that sense, but showing ownership, whose it is. Okay, so the ya making it mine. Okay, so if I say qalami, my pen, qalamuna, our pen. If I said qalamuka, your pen, qalamuki, your pen if you're a woman, qalamukum, y'all's pen, qalamuhu, his pen, qalamuha, her pen, qalamuhum, their pen. Okay? So when you attach that pronoun to the end of that noun, it makes it possessive. Object pronouns are very easy. They're exactly the same. Okay? Let me move my face here so you can. Oh, there I go. Object pronouns are exactly the same as possessive pronouns. The only difference is two things. One is you're attaching it to the end of a verb. Okay? And two, ana is the only one that's different. That's why I made it red. When you want to attach yourself to the end of a verb, you add a noon ya, not just a ya. We call this noon al-wiqaya. So we add a noon and a ya when you're adding yourself to a verb. Everything else remains the same. Okay? And what is the possessive, not the possessive, what does the object pronoun do? It just means that you're using a pronoun and it's functioning as the object of a verb. So if I say, I love you, I'm doing the action, I love. Who do I love? You. You are the object. Because what am I doing the verb to? The love that I have is for you. So that love is being loved on you. So you're the object. If I say, I'm writing a letter, what's the object? I'm the person doing it. Writing is the verb that I'm doing. What's the object of the verb? What am I writing? A letter. That's the object. The object is asking the question, what are you doing the verb to? I'm reading a book. What's the object? A book. I know her. What or who do I know? Her. So she's the object. So the object is simply, what is the verb being done to? So in this case, if the object is a pronoun, I know her. I love them. I'm reading it. That means that that pronoun has to be attached to the end of the verb. So when pronouns come in the middle of a sentence or when they come after a verb or a noun, we attach them to that verb or that noun. Okay? And the one thing that I do want to note here is that all of these pronouns are the same. The only one that's different here, hu and ha, for him and her. So if I say I love him, I love her, right? What if I want to say the word it? I love it. I'm reading it. I see it. We don't have a word for it in Arabic. There's no gender neutral pronoun for it. So what we do instead is we use the pronoun for him or her, for huwa or hiya, and we just base it on the gender of the object we're talking about. So if I want to say I'm reading it, and it is a book, and I say kitab, it's masculine, so I would add hu at the end. If I want to say I love it, and it is a city, Medina, ends in ta marbuta, it's feminine, so I would use ha alif. Okay, so whenever you want to say it, it's always going to be he or she, him or her. We're going to use the masculine or the feminine depending on the gender of the it that we're talking about. Okay, and again, if you want to try to keep it gender neutral, just like in English, you can use the plural, home. So let's look at some examples. Let me put this back on the side now. In order to attach an object pronoun to the verb, you first have to conjugate the verb. Okay, so you first change the verb so that it's the correct verb form, and then you attach the object pronoun. Okay, so let's look at some examples, shall we? Oops. Okay. Put this here. Just moving my face everywhere. Here we go. Okay. So let's look at the first one. I don't remember her. I don't remember her. So I don't remember, and here's your object, her. So anytime we make it negative, we put la. And then, so now we have the don't part is done. Remember, you have to do the verb remember, and it's conjugating for ana, for I. So that means it has to start with the alif hamza because I'm the one who doesn't remember. La atadhakkar. La atadhakkar. And now I want to say her. So when I want to say her, because that's the object, I'm actually going to attach it. It's going to be part of that word. And what is the pronoun attachment for her, for the feminine? Right here. Ha alif. Okay. And that's the same thing that we've done. Remember we talked about for hiya, the pronoun becomes ha alif at the end. For huwa, the pronoun at the end is a hu at the end. So what I do is I take that ha alif and I put it as part of that word. It's attached. Of course, it's not physically attached because the letter ra does not connect to the next letter, but it's part of that word. Atadhakkaruha. And when you're pronouncing it, you can pronounce that last letter with the dhamma just to make it easier, which is the same thing that we did with nouns. Okay? La atadhakkaruha. I don't remember her. So if la atadhakkar, I don't remember, ha, her. Okay, I love him. I love him. So we do the verb first, conjugate the verb first. So how do we say I love? You can use the pronoun if you want, ana. You don't have to. Ana uhib. Okay, and we're going to pronounce it with the dhamma to make it easier. Uhib. For him, you have to attach it. Now the letter ba connects. So we have to connect the pronoun to the letter ba. I love him. What is the attachment for him? It's the letter ha. Uhibbuhu. Ana uhibbuhu. I love him. If I said ana uhibbuha, that would be I love her. Right? If I said ana uhibbuhum, that would mean I love them. Okay? So this right here, as you're doing this, keep this chart open. So we're using the second chart. This second chart is for objects. Keep it open so that you can refer back to it. Okay, our teacher teaches us Arabic. Our teacher teaches us Arabic. So we have Ustaduna. So here's an example. That's a possessive pronoun because it's telling you whose teacher it is. It's our teacher. And the teacher here is masculine because there's no ta. So he, our teacher teaches, meaning he teaches. So our teacher teaches us Arabic. So now we need the word teach. What's the word for teach? And it's he teaches. So what letter does it start with? It starts with a ya. Yudarris. Yudarris is to teach. Remember with the shadda. Yudarris. And then what do I say for us? It's the same exact thing for our. Our and us are the same exact thing. So what do we add? We add a noon alif to the end. Yudarrisuna, and you can pronounce it with a dhamma to make it easier. Ustaduna. Yudarrisuna al-Arabiya. He teaches us Arabic. And of course, if it was feminine, if it was ustadatuna with a ta here, if we added a ta here, then this would be tudarrisuna with a ta. Do you know them? Do you know them? So hal, remember hal, we did this way back when. That's to ask a yes or no question. So hal. The answer here is yes, I know them, or no, I don't know them. So that's a hal question. Hal. You know. What's the verb for know? Good, it's ya'arif, but we want to say you know. So what letter will it start with? Good. Ta'arif. Them. So that's your verb. Now you're adding the pronoun, right? The object pronoun. Them, which is hum. And remember, hum was the easiest one because it's just hum means they. And when you attach it to the end, them, it's the same exact thing. It's just attached. هل تعرفهم? Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to stick with the same verb. He knows me. Pause and come back. Okay, he knows. يعرف. Me. When you attach yourself to the verb, that's the only one that looks different than possessive pronouns. And what is it going to be? Good. A noon. Noon, ya. Pronounce it with the dhamma on the last letter. يعرفني. He knows me. يعرفني. Okay. Now, the other note that I mentioned in the slide is that you have to conjugate the verb completely, and then you attach the pronoun. So those are the answers there. And then you attach the pronoun. That means if the verb ends with a suffix, you keep the whole suffix, and then you attach the ending. So here's an example. It says, Ya Fatima, هل تعرفينها? Ya Fatima, هل تعرفينها? So we're saying, do you, and it's feminine because I'm talking to Fatima, do you know her? Hel, let's just focus on the verb, so it's just, hel is the question here. You know. So if I want to say enti, you know, it's ta'arifin, that's the verb, right? And then I'm going to attach the pronoun for her, and the pronoun for her is a ha alif. So if I take ta'arifin and I attach ha alif to the end, what do I get? we have تعرفين and then ها ألف. تعرفينها. And the rule of thumb is if you have a verb that ends in a waw noon or a ya noon, so ya noon you have for anti, تعرفين, تسكنين, تعملين, or if you have waw noon for the plural, that just simply pronounce the noon with a fatha. So for all of them, you pronounce the last letter with a dhamma, except if it has a suffix, pronounce it with a fatha. تعرفينها. So I'm going to give you another one. They know me. Pause and come back. They know me. Okay. What does they know? It's a plural, so it's the verb يعرف, but it's plural. So we have the verb يعرفون, right? And then we want to attach me, and it's an object pronoun. We're attaching it to the end of a verb. That means we have to attach noon and a ya. Okay. So we have two noons. In object pronouns, we don't put a shadda. We actually separate the noons out. So what we're going to get is the verb يعرفون, like this. يعرفون, and then connect the noon and the ya. يعرفونني. So hum, they know. Hum يعرفونني. Ni meaning me. They know me. Okay. So don't say يعرفوني. You have to keep both of those noons on there. So let's look at some other examples here. They know him. We have the verb يعرفون, and we want to add هو, him. And what was the pronoun for هو? Right here. It's just the who. So we take hum, يعرفونه. Pronounce the noon with a fatha and just add a hu to the end. So here's your verb يعرفون. يعرفون, they know. Who? Him. يعرفونه. Do you all remember me? Okay, do you all, y'all remember me? هل, so we have the verb يتذكر. يتذكر, we're going to change it for أنتم, you guys. So أنتم, remember, starts with the ta, ends with waw noon. تتذكرون. So here's the verb تتذكرون. And then we add the ni to the end for myself, because I'm an object pronoun here. Who are they remembering? Me. So we have تتذكرونني. And here you're pronouncing, that noon, okay, with a fatha. تتذكرونني. So this right here is going to be your object pronouns. I'm going to give you one more slide of examples. Okay. We're going to stick with the verb يعرف just to make it easy. If I want to say يعرف plus أنا, what would that be? He knows me. We take the verb يعرف and we add noon ya. And we pronounce it with dhamma. يعرفني. He knows. If I want to say he knows us. For نحن, we always add a noon alif to the end. So we take that verb يعرف, we pronounce it with the dhamma, and then add noon alif. يعرفنا. Okay, so those are what we attached. So what I want you to do now is you're going to take the same formula. You're going to take يعرف plus أنت. يعرف plus أنت. يعرف plus أنتم. يعرف plus هو. يعرف plus هي. يعرف plus هم. So pause the video and come back. Okay. So this is he knows, because all of these are he knows because the verb itself is يعرف. If it was تعرف, she knows. If it was يعرفون, they know. But I'm just sticking to the same verb form. So he knows me. He knows us. Here we want to say he knows you, masculine and feminine. Here we want to say he knows y'all, you guys. He knows him. He knows her. He knows them. Okay. So يعرف plus أنت. So let's look here. You can keep this chart open at the same time. Oops, that's not what we want to look at right here. So you can keep that chart open. Okay. So يعرف plus أنت. أنت, we're going to add here a kaf. Okay. So we have يعرفك. All of these we're pronouncing the fa with a dhamma. أنتِ, he knows you and you're feminine. يعرفك. So if I say my dad knows you, Fatima, يعرفك, he knows her. Okay, he knows you guys, you all, plural. Same thing, يعرف, and then we add كم, يعرفكم. So remember we have here كم. He knows him, يعرفه. He knows her, يعرفها. He knows them. This is the easiest one because home just gets attached to the end. يعرفهم. And of course, you can write your ha like that too if you want. It'd be useful to move this over with it. Okay. So that chart, make sure that you memorize it. So if you need to write here, it's ana. It's a noon ya when it's a object pronoun. For nahnu, noon alif gets attached to the end. For anta and anti, we attach ka and ki. For ki, it's just with the kasra. Don't put a ya there. For antum, we're going to add kum. For huwa, we're adding hu. For hiya, we're adding ha. Hum, it's just hum. Okay. So these are your attached pronouns, and this is object pronouns. So they're all attached. Your possessive pronouns and your attached pronoun, your possessive pronouns and your object pronouns, they're both attached. Right? But one is possessive. Possessive is to the noun. Object is to the verb. They look exactly the same. In English, they mean a little bit different, right? So if I say something is my book, as opposed to he knows me, right? In English, we're using two different pronouns for that. But in Arabic, it's the same thing. The only difference with me, when you're attaching yourself, is when it's an object, you have to have the noon there. Okay? So if I say, my pen, qalami. But he knows me, يعرفني, has to have that noon. All the other pronouns are exactly the same. So to the noun or to the object, they look the same when they're attached. Okay? So now we're going to have some drills that we're going to practice and some homework assignments.